The Governmental Affairs Committee of the New Orleans City Council votes to move forward with the confirmation process of interim NOPD Superintendent Kirkpatrick.
As Chris Welty reports today, the committee focused on learning more about Kirkpatrick's experience and policing strategies.
Before diving into Ann Kirkpatrick's experience and plans for NOPD, City Council member Helena Moreno addressed what she calls the elephant in the room.
I think many of us would have liked the opportunity to have Chief Woodfork before us, and this is with all due deference and respect to the nominee, to Ms. Kirkpatrick.
Mayor Latoya Cantrell says her decision to nominate Ann Kirkpatrick is based on her years of experience and knowledge navigating consent decrees.
We're lucky, I would say, to have a leader like Kirkpatrick who stepped up and wants to join the New Orleans Police Department family and lead us into the future.
For more than 3 hours, Kirkpatrick fielded questions from the council and covered a variety of topics, including recruitment, retention, crime-fighting strategies, and the consent decree. She knows New Orleans is unique and that she'll have to learn from the community.
If we are not trusted in a particular community, we will not get the information. Solvability rates are indicators many times if there's a fractured relationship between the police and a community. You can rebuild fractured relationships.
Kirkpatrick also addressed complaints and investigations against officers. She says minor infractions need to be addressed swiftly and with certainty. Meanwhile, high-profile cases should not be investigated in-house.
High-profile cases, no matter what they were given out of house for the investigation. They were not completed in-house. So I would want to advance it as policy. For here, it just removes all issues.
Kirkpatrick maintains that she'll work with Mayor Cantrell and the council, but she says she will not be micromanaged.
There's one chief of a department. I am independent. I take in everybody's guidance and input because I serve all of you. But if you want a shadow chief, I'm not your lady. Please do not confirm me. I'll tell you that right now.
Next Thursday, Kirkpatrick will need majority support of the council to be confirmed. Chris Welty, Fox 8 Local First.